Okay, so picture this. It's Davos, January 2026. You're high in the Swiss Alps, surrounded by the world's most powerful leaders. But this year, something's different. This isn't your usual business as usual summit. The tension is so thick you could cut it with a knife, because the unspoken rules that have basically run the world for decades, they've just been torn up. This isn't just another meeting, it's a turning point. The old way of doing things is officially over. And at the very heart of this massive shift is one single stark realization. The era of what people are now calling naive globalization is done. You know, that really optimistic idea that if we just connected all of our economies, it would magically lead to peace and prosperity for everyone? Well, that dream is over. Turns out it kind of overlooked some pretty deep national interests and rivalries, and now we're waking up to a much harsher, way more competitive reality. So, what comes next? Well, a new philosophy pretty much dominated every conversation: fragmented realism. Just think of it as a new world order built on three really simple, kind of cold ideas. First, national security is everything. It trumps all else. Second, a nation's sovereignty is non-negotiable. And third, alliances are temporary. Deals, that's what matters now. It's a world where looking out for number one isn't just accepted, it's literally the only rule of the game. Let's dive into the first and honestly most dramatic shift: how raw transactional deal-making has completely taken the place of old-school diplomacy. In this new era, things like loyalty, history, shared values, they're all taking a back seat. The only question anyone's asking is, what's in it for me? And you know, nothing captured this new mindset better than Donald Trump's return to Davos. He actually brought back his famous idea to buy Greenland. But this time, nobody was laughing. It was framed as this cold, calculated business move, a vital acquisition for what he calls America Inc. It's a move that basically treats a whole country like it's just a piece of corporate real estate up for sale. But the logic here, it goes way deeper than just a real estate deal. So why Greenland? It's all about what's under the ice. The world's biggest untapped stashes of rare earth minerals. You know, the stuff you need for basically all modern tech. And it's also about what's around it. Total control over new Arctic shipping lanes that are opening up as the planet gets warmer. See, this isn't about buying land. It's about buying power. And that right there is the new diplomatic model in a nutshell. The old world, it ran on these long-term alliances, right? Predictable partnerships built on shared values. This new world, it runs on short-term deals that are all about pure self-interest. The person who's your partner today could easily be your rival tomorrow, because loyalty is flexible and every single relationship is constantly up for renegotiation. So how are America's old allies reacting to this everything's a transaction world? Well, they're building their own walls. A perfect example is European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen's vision of an EU Inc. The plan is basically to turn Europe into an economic fortress, a powerful, self-reliant bloc that doesn't have to depend on American security guarantees that, frankly, now seem to come with a price tag. Now, this new reality is reshaping absolutely everything, even the future of technology. For years, right, we've talked about AI in terms of code and algorithms and data, but the big conversation at Davos 2026 revealed this shocking new bottleneck. And it's not in the digital world, it's in the physical one. So let me ask you, in a world with these godlike algorithms, what do you think is the single biggest thing holding AI back? Is it computing power? Is it government regulation? A lack of human talent? What do you think? The answer is so much simpler than you'd think. It's electricity. The new generation of AI models are just power-guzzling beasts. They consume absolutely staggering amounts of energy. And what that means is the future of AI isn't just about who can write the best code. It's a brutal competition for power, for land, and for water to build these massive data centers. The digital revolution, it turns out, has a very, very real physical cost. But this physical problem is actually sparking some incredible innovation. Take this concept of digital embassies, which leaders like Malaysia's digital minister are championing. The idea is honestly brilliant. A country that doesn't have enough cheap energy can build its data centers in a place like Malaysia that does. And a special legal framework treats that data center just like a real embassy. So it's technically on Malaysian soil, but all the data inside remains under the full sovereign control of the home country. And this is where countries are getting really, really strategic. As one Malaysian official put it, during a gold rush, you can dig for gold or you can sell shovels. So while everyone else is racing to build the next great AI model, that's the gold, Malaysia is focusing on selling the shovels. They're pouring money into the two things every AI company desperately needs: huge power grids and the advanced chip packaging technology that they're already great at. It's a genius move to profit from the whole boom, no matter who actually wins the AI race. And this all leads to what is maybe the most important takeaway from Davos 2026. This new, fragmented world isn't just for the big superpowers. Nope. Nations all across the global south are stepping up. They're no longer just taking the rules, they're making the rules, and they've got their own assertive playbooks. For a perfect example, just look at Indonesia's new strategy, which people are calling Prabowonomics. The message to the rest of the world is simple. You want our nickel for your electric cars? Great. But you're not just going to dig it up and ship it out anymore. You are going to build your factories and your processing plants right here, in Indonesia. The jobs, the tech, the profits, they're all going to stay home. It's this incredibly bold declaration of economic independence. And this isn't just happening in Indonesia. You're seeing this all over the global south. Nations are writing their own rules. Indonesia is using its natural resources. Malaysia is using its technical know-how to become the world's AI landlord. And then you have Saudi Arabia using its insane wealth and cheap energy to become this neutral AI powerhouse, a kind of third way that isn't tied to the US or China. Each one is playing a different game, but the goal is exactly the same: carve out their own piece of power in this new, fragmented world. So let's just be really clear here. What we saw at Davos 2026 wasn't just a handful of new policies. It was the confirmation that the entire global system has been fundamentally rewired. The basic operating logic that powered the world for the past 30 years, it's now obsolete. Here's the shift in a nutshell. The old world was obsessed with efficiency, finding the cheapest labor, the fastest supply chains. The new world is all about resilience, asking, can we survive when those supply chains inevitably break? The old ideal was openness. The new priority is sovereignty. We've moved from a world that was desperately seeking interdependence to one where every single major player is fighting for what they call strategic autonomy. This is the new global operating system. And that leaves us with one final and kind of sobering thought. The old system of globalization, for all of its flaws, it did create connections. In this new world of fragmented realism, where everybody is building walls and putting themselves first, it just begs the question: who, if anyone, is left to build the bridges?